A realization has dawned upon me since the last video when I was mentioning my intentions behind creating this channel, and I found out that it was a similar reason to why I started actually writing in English. Finally, I should have done that years ago, but well, at least I started now. And the biggest reason, of course, that I wanted to at least try and improve my English, but the main reason was that I just wanted a story that would be perfectly tailored for me with none of the elements that somehow irk me in so many other stories, even those that I really, really love, enjoy, have read them, enjoyed them in other ways like games so many times, but they obviously still have some parts, some characters that I would personally enjoy more if they were handled differently. Of course, that I'm fully aware that this is going to be extremely difficult, and somehow pretending that I'm able to write this perfect story would be insane. I just want a story with good male and female characters, with none of the issues that I have with other stories. I highly doubt that I'll be able to produce anything that I would even let anyone else other than me read. Writing a good story, or even a story that just at least makes sense, is incredibly difficult. I can have all these problems with other people's work, and I can have all these kinds of solutions, but in reality, it's something that is extremely complex, and even creating just a short story that makes sense from start to finish is probably beyond my feeble capabilities. But on the other hand, I am happy that I at least started and that I was able to write as much as I actually did. I am quite surprised that I stuck with it for so long. I've been writing for about a month, have close to 30,000 words written, and I have planned the rest of the story, even with even the ending and some events that will take place before that. What I would mostly like to achieve is an interesting protagonist balanced by good side characters, not just cardboard cutouts with no personality, no traits, no problems, no struggles, no victories. A protagonist that isn't just a wish fulfillment self insert, but someone who actually has to go through the highs and lows, while me as a writer avoids the problematic themes and cliches that I just simply can't stand. There are some just expectations, some ideas that I have of a male protagonist of a story that I just really don't want to give up. And basically, I just want to create a story that would, let's say, fill up the void of unsatisfying characters and events that I'm just not interested in. I just don't want to read about them at all. What I would really like to create would be a world where both men and women have the exact same opportunities, but also the exact same obligations, where they suffer the exact same consequences, have the same limitations, strength wise and character wise, but I have no intentions of projecting any of the real life differences, since I really want my stories to happen in an entirely different world and just straight up stay as far away from our world, from our issues as I can, since I would like to create their own aspirations, their own goals, and not just copy and paste those that happen in our world that our humans have. So that's sort of my unobtainable goal, and uh, well, just a rather long intro for another Asterix. I'll be skipping now a few of them. One I'll go back to in form of a movie chapter, and the other one I honestly don't really remember. So I'll jump right into Asterix in Britain, which is a great one. I think I first saw the the animated movie before I got my hands on the comics, and I know that there is a live action adaptation. Never really enjoyed that one, so I'll just cover the comics. It begins with our now well-known pirate friends who are happy to find out that they encountered a Roman ship to plunder. Unfortunately, it turned out to be an entire fleet of ships ready to attack Britannia, and that's Caesar with his legionnaires trying to conquer the entirety of the Isles. The battles take a rather interesting and unusual form, since the Brits tend to take a tea break at 5 p.m. every day, and they only fight 5 days a week. So Caesar decides to attack during their tea breaks and during the weekends, which leads to a rather fast conquest. But there is still one small village resisting the Romans, and they send one brave Brit soldier, a cousin of Asterix, to Gallia to seek help and hopefully, with the power of the strengthening potion, resist the invasion. Once he reaches the village, there is one picture that I clearly remember him asking for a handshake from Obelix, and Obelix, being the only one who constantly retains the effects of the potion, simply starts shaking him by his hand, his entire body, creating these after images as he is just fulfilling the request. Then he asks for help and receives an entire barrel of the strengthening potion. Unfortunately, he is unable to transport it himself, so he needs Asterix and Obelix to accompany him and help him carry the secret weapon to the resisting village. And there is a small setup where Asterix sees some strange leaves in the druid's hut and asks him if he can carry them with himself, which he does, and we'll see the effect later on. They then travel to Britain, encounter a galleon, which they promptly dispatch, and then continue on. Then they have their first encounter with British cuisine, which is full of mint and warm beer, which isn't exactly what Obelix would enjoy. They then outsmart a patrol that tries to question them, and it turns out that their secret mission got leaked during their fight on the galleon. There's a rather glorious chase scene where they meet a British farmer who's creating the absolutely perfect turf, and he's still not exactly happy with it. Thinks that it'll take 2000 years before it'll be decent, and they completely ruin it with a chariot, and unfortunately he can't do anything about the ghost, so at least he threatens the pursuing legionnaires with a spear. They also meet a group of bards, which is a clear poke at the Beatles, because they even have slightly similar haircuts as the insanely popular band, and they have the female fans, British, screeching around them. Unfortunately, a patrol seizes the barrel they have been transporting, and they seize all other wine barrels from the city, and the poor Roman soldiers are then forced to taste test to try and find the one that's giving the superhuman strength. They fortunately retrieve it safely, while pretty much all the Roman soldiers are completely hammered. Then the barrel gets stolen, Obelix gets imprisoned, and fortunately, after all these adventures, they arrive at a game of rugby where they spot the stolen barrel being used as a first aid solution for the injured players. They do retrieve the barrel, but in an attempt to escape using a small boat, the boat gets shot using a catapult, and the barrel with the strengthening potion gets destroyed. The still resisting village is now facing a crisis, and the Gauls are not exactly sure what to do about it, since all the legions are getting ready to attack. Now we get the payoff for the leaves that Asterix brought with him. He pretends that they still have the ingredients for the strengthening potions and just boils them in a cauldron with hot water. The Brits prior to this never tasted actual tea. They were just drinking hot water with milk during their tea breaks. Now, some of them are asking if they can add milk to their strengthening potion, and when they are all doped with the secret weapon, the Romans attack, and with the help of Asterix and Obelix, the Brits are able to repel the attackers. Then Asterix admits to the chief of the Brits that what they drank wasn't the real potion, but on the Brits it had the same effect. They again meet the unfortunate pirates. This time, though, they don't have to sink them themselves. The pirates try and flee so fast that they actually hit the land with their ship, but for the pirate captain, that's a victory. And then there is the usual banquet at the end of the volume, and Asterix is asking Panoramix, the druid, what were the leaves that Asterix took with him, and Panoramix simply calls them tea. So this is sort of an origin story for the British cultural custom of actually drinking real tea at 5 p.m. instead of just hot water with milk.